Hi, welcome to Healthy Kingston, a health promotion and wellness program of the Kingston Board of Health, and I'm Janet Wade. Well, the days of summer are upon us, and it's important that we keep in mind some health and safety tips so that ourselves, our families, our friends, and our general community will be safe and have a happy and fun summer. So with that in mind, I just wanted to go over a few tips that we have covered in previous programs, but certainly bear repeating. One of them is bicycle safety. Certainly, it's very important for all of us to be role models as adults for our younger children. And part of that is in wearing a helmet. Even if we weren't brought up with them, they're very important. And it's important that they fit firmly. So when you are getting a helmet, either for yourself or for a family member, it's important, obviously, that you try it on, that it fits your head securely, that when you look up, you can see the rim of the helmet itself, that the V-straps are in back of your ears, and that when you go to tighten it, that you look up and then tighten it so you know that it's secure. The next is certainly having proper equipment so that your bicycle is in good condition. Obviously, having the pedals and the chains oiled well, the brakes work, whether they be hand brakes or on the pedals, that they work well. Also that you have deflectors on the back, reflectors, or a light on the front if you're going to be riding the bicycle at night. Another thing to keep in mind is that we really need to keep an eye out for our young children, particularly up to the age of 10. They may not really understand the rules of the road and perspective, and they should be riding on the sidewalk and not on the street. Beyond that, they have a fairly good comprehension of where to ride and how to conduct themselves on the road. But certainly up to the age of 10, they should be being watched. If by any chance you're going to be riding your bicycle late in the afternoon when it's dusk or into the evening, it's very important that you have a light on the front and that you have a reflector on the back of the bicycle. Okay, the next would be water safety. And as we all know, unfortunately, there have been some drownings the last few summers in the ponds in this area. So it's very, very important that we keep in mind how to keep ourselves and our children safe during the summer. Drowning is the leading cause of death for children. So it's important that you make sure every family member knows how to swim, which includes being able to breathe under the water, stay afloat, be able to change position in the water, and swim at least a sufficient distance to hopefully be able to get to a place away from the water. It's always important to employ barriers to access of water for children. So keeping them in life jackets that are significant to their size. You don't want it too small, you don't want it too large, you want the straps on appropriately, and obviously keep them under close supervision. All right, and last but not least, skin health. And certainly it's important that we protect our skin from ultraviolet rays during the course of the year, but particularly in the summer when the sun is a lot stronger. So it's important that we all use at least SPF 30, that we apply it not only to our face and neck, ears, any exposed skin that we might have, arms, hands, feet, to keep them protected. And if you're going to be out in the sun, particularly during the time between 10 in the morning and 4 in the afternoon, that you want to be repeating using the sunscreen about every 2 hours. And if you're heavily sweating with an activity or swimming, it would be important that you reapply it even more often than every 2 hours. It's important that you apply it evenly and that always look for shady areas that you can stay in, or wearing a broad-brimmed hat. These are things that will, again, avoid heavy sun exposure, particularly during the hot, sunny summer months. There have been two different areas that I've been asked to address that haven't been covered in previous programs, and one of them is oral health, and that it is truly the window to our overall health. It offers clues as to how we are doing generally and can certainly affect all of our different body systems. As we all know, our mouths have a lot of bacteria in them, and our mouth is the entryway to our respiratory system and our digestive tract. And that's where diseases can become prevalent. We have a natural defense system or immune system, and that, along with normal oral care, can usually eradicate most of this bacteria that can cause further disease in our body. Certainly brushing, flossing our teeth and gums can keep bacteria under control. But if we're not in the practice of doing that, it can certainly lead to infections in our mouths, gum disease, and tooth decay. Also keep in mind there are certain medications that a number of us take that can affect your oral health, such as decongestants, antihistamines, painkillers, diuretics, and antidepressants. What they can do is reduce the amount of saliva that we have in our mouths. This saliva washes away food and it neutralizes the acids in our mouth and help protect us from microbes and bacteria that can lead to disease. So if these medications are driving up the saliva, or driving it away, then we're far more prone to getting some type of oral disease or oral infection. Studies show that oral bacteria and inflammation associated with a severe form of gum disease can actually cause periodontitis. It might play a role in some other diseases such as diabetes, HIV, and AIDS. These can lower our body's resistance to infection and make our oral health problems even more severe. There are several conditions that can be linked to oral health. Oral health may contribute to diseases such as endocarditis. This is an infection of the inner lining of your heart chambers or valves, and typically occurs when bacteria or other germs from another part of your body, such as your mouth, spread through your bloodstream and actually attack certain areas in your heart. Another area that may be affected by poor oral health is your cardiovascular area. Although the connection is not fully understood, some research suggests that heart disease, clogged arteries, and stroke might be linked to the inflammation and infections that oral bacteria can cause. Interestingly enough, pregnancy and birth complications can happen due to periodontitis, which has been linked to premature birth and low birth weight. Certain bacteria in your mouth can be pulled into your lungs, causing pneumonia and other respiratory diseases. And certain conditions also might affect your oral health, including diabetes. So by reducing the body's resistance to infections, diabetes put your gums at risk. Gum disease appears to be more frequent and severe among people who have diabetes. And research shows that people who have gum disease have a harder time controlling their blood sugar levels. Regular periodontal care can improve diabetes control and HIV and AIDS. Oral problems such as painful mucosal lesions are common in people who have HIV and AIDS. Again, for people like myself who have osteoporosis, this bone weakening disease is linked with periodontal bone loss and tooth loss. And certain drugs used to treat osteoporosis can carry a small risk of damage to the bones of the jaw. Also, Alzheimer's disease can be worsened by poor oral health. It stands to reason that people with Alzheimer's will need help with oral care and aren't as likely to perform it, and that's why it can become more of an issue with Alzheimer's. Other conditions that are linked to oral health include eating disorders, rheumatoid arthritis, certain cancers, and an immune system disorder that causes a dry mouth. It's very important that you tell your dentist about any medications that you're taking, any new medications that you're taking, and about changes in your overall health, especially if you're at risk of any type of chronic disease condition such as diabetes. We all know this, but it bears repeating. How to protect your oral health. It's important that we all practice good oral hygiene daily, that we brush our teeth at least twice a day for at least 2 minutes, and use a soft bristle brush and fluoride toothpaste. Floss daily. Use mouthwash to remove the particles after you brush your teeth and after flossing. Certainly eat a healthy diet that's limited in sugary foods and drinks. Replace your toothbrush every 3 to 4 months. Particularly, we all know what it looks like when it's splathed or it's obviously not working well. Certainly schedule regular dental checkups at least once a year, if not twice, and avoid tobacco use. So again, very important that we keep up with oral health. It has far more implications for our general well-being, I think, than a lot of people realize. Another question that comes up, and I know we certainly suffer from this in my family, is the effect of blue light on sleep. The screens of electronic devices, we all use them. Smartphones, computers, tablets, televisions emit a blue light that disrupts our natural sleep cycles. And research shows that a majority of Americans use electronic devices within an hour of going to bed, which can lead to unsatisfactory sleep. So decreasing the amount of exposure in the evening to this blue light, in particular blue light, is an important way to help our bodies naturally prepare for sleep and get quality sleep. Okay, we talk about blue light. What exactly is blue light? Light is composed of electromagnetic radiation, which is an invisible form of energy. Our eyes interpret colors of light based on the amount of energy they contain. White light, including some white emitted by the sun, is the combination of all the colors of the visible light spectrum, like when we see a rainbow. Blue light is in a portion of the visible light spectrum that can influence alertness. That's why being exposed to blue light during the day is a very positive thing. It makes us more alert, it helps with hormone production, and it keeps us in a regular ongoing sleep cycle or circadian rhythm. This wavelength of light is emitted by LED and fluorescent lights, as well as many electronic devices, and I named quite a few of them. So how does this blue light affect our circadian rhythm? All of our circadian rhythms are finely tuned. We're all on a 24-hour cycle that signals our bodies to carry out essential functions. So when to get up, when to go to work, when to eat lunch, when to do afternoon or late afternoon activities, certainly having a meal at night, evening activities. With the advent of artificial light and electronics, people are being exposed to increased amounts of light before bedtime. While all types of visible light can affect circadian rhythms, blue light has the largest amount. We get most of our exposure to blue light from the sun. Blue light also stimulates parts of the brain that make us feel alert, elevating our body temperature and heart rate. During the day, blue light can improve our performance at work and our attention, and tuning out our circadian rhythms and setting us up for a better night's sleep. So if we're active during the day and then we slow down our activity at night and our exposure to blue light, we're going to sleep a lot better. Exposure to blue light in the hours leading up to bedtime can hinder our sleep. Blue light suppresses the body's release of melatonin, and I know a number of people take melatonin to help them go to sleep. It's some hormone that we have that, again, helps us feel drowsy. While this promotes wakefulness during the day, it becomes unhelpful at night when we're trying to go to sleep. Being exposed to blue light in the evening can trick our brains into thinking it's still the daytime, disrupting our circadian rhythms and leaving us feeling alert instead of tired. Chronic misalignment of our circadian rhythm or our regular routine can also lead to many negative health impacts. So, including metabolic disorders, mental health conditions such as depression. If we're not getting enough sleep at night, it can lead to a lot of mental disorders and physical disorders. So we need to be mindful of the sources of blue light and daily exposure levels that can help reduce the risk of this negative health outcome. Again, reviewing the devices that emit blue light. Many people work under artificial lights and they constantly interact with the screens of electronic devices, particularly now that people have hybrid jobs and they're working from their homes on computers. Being aware of these common sources of artificial blue light can help you strategically time exposure and avoid disruptions in your circadian rhythm. Common sources of light include, and we're all familiar with this, fluorescent lights, LED lights, smartphones, televisions, computer screens, tablets, and e-readers. Also video games. Our children are up late watching video games. The good news is that the risk of nighttime blue light exposure can be reduced through relatively single methods. Minimize the effect of blue light at night. Turn off your computers and anything that has a blue light 2 to 3 hours before you go to bed. Set an alarm so you know this is when I should be turning off my blue light devices so I can start to wind down for the day. This doesn't mean that you can't read a book. I know a lot of people like to do that before they go to bed. Just don't use a blue light. Use more of a white light. Also, diminish the light in the room where you're sleeping and get rid of any LED lights that might be on in the room. There are also special glasses that you can use in reducing exposure to blue light. And while they may not work for everyone, blue light blocking or amber glasses can reduce the melatonin suppressing effects of bright light. It may not always be feasible to turn off the sources of the blue light after dark, but there are a variety of lights that you can use that do not have a blue light to them. So make it routine. Set an alarm that reminds you to turn off your electronics 2 to 3 hours before you go to bed. Use a different lamp, and if you enjoy reading, as I mentioned, then try a lamp that emits red or orange light rather than blue. Learn to dim the lights and put down blinds in the rooms in which you are sleeping. And try an app if you need to use devices before bed. Try out one of the several smartphone and computer applications that can help reduce blue light emissions. Improve your sleeping environment, as I mentioned, as far as using lights, making it comfortable for you, more sleep-inducing. Turn off the TV, and a lot of people use a mask to block any light that may be emitted. So a lot of information today we went over. Just important again to create a happy, healthy, and safe summer situation for yourselves, your families, your friends by being mindful of bicycle safety, helmets, bikes that work, beware of safety on the roads, watching your children 10 and under on the roads, keeping them on sidewalks, skin. Remember UV rays. It's important to put on your sunscreen every 2 hours during the course of the day, wearing a hat, staying in the shade. Any clothes you can wear that would block the sun would be beneficial. And then lastly, water safety. That it's important that members of your family know how to swim. As soon as you can Get them in the water, teach them how to swim, 3, 4, 5 years old. Make sure they know how to hold their breath, that they can float, that they can swim to a safe area, and certainly use flotation devices if they, particularly safety jackets, if they are not strong swimmers. So with that said, stay happy and healthy and enjoy your summer. Thank you.